Hello everyone, welcome to another Celeste 90% tutorial. This episode I'm going to be going over some of the easier beginner level strats for Old Site. And this is a chapter that I personally think this is the easiest chapter in the game. A little bit easier than City, not because it's shorter, because it's definitely not shorter than City, but because there are a lot fewer kind of corners and stuff that you can get stuck on. Like, there are a lot of ways that you can make very large movement errors in City, but Old Site is a little more straightforward. Like, there are a few more things that can kill you, like battling, but when you're speed running, these obstacles become much less significant. So to start off with Old Site, you just want to pretty much hyper into the next room. You can start with a hyper bunny hop, which is a few frames faster. Just note, if you do start with a hyper bunny hop, you have to be ready to wave dash at the start of the next room. So you can just hyper, and then this room is pretty much just like doing hypers at the correct time. So you can bunny hop here and then start with a wave dash, or just hyper in. Very small difference. The next room is just either lots of wave dashes or lots of hypers. And what you want to make sure of, though, the most important part, is that you hyper or wave dash off of this spot right here. You don't want the hyper at the start of this room, because then you won't be able to bunny hop over this corner. You want to hyper into this room from before, so that you can have enough time to bunny hop over that platform right there. So if you just do hypers, you can either bunny hop off the second to last platform and then wave dash, or you can try and do 2 quick hypers, which is faster but a little harder. And then on that next room, you just bunny hop at the start of the room. And then if you time it correctly, you can do a down dash and avoid that platform. And you'll see, even if you hyper into this room really late, you'll still corner glide over this corner right here. So the moment you are directly above the transition, you just want to dash straight down. Try and time the dash. Sometimes you'll land on this platform, so I'd recommend after the down dash that you don't hold down into the transition, because if you accidentally down dash into the platform, you won't be able to move left or right while you're holding down, so you can actually lose a lot of time if you get stuck on this platform. So instead, after dashing down, I'd recommend letting go of down and just being ready to walk off the platform and then dash down again, just in case you get stuck. For this next room, you want to start with a down left dash so that you can avoid this platform right here. You can pretty much do it whenever you want, as long as you don't do it too soon and hit that wall, or too late that you slide along the floor. But it's mostly just a down left dash, and then you just want to kind of guide a fast fall around that corner. If you have trouble lining up the fast fall, you can stop fast falling for a moment, but this fast fall isn't too difficult. You can just pretty much keep moving to the left until you get past that corner and then just hold right. I forgot to dash down left there. But ideally you want to land down here, and you can land pretty much anywhere on this platform. Landing further right will mean it'll take less time to get to the wall at the exit, but I actually like to land kind of closer to the left side because of the strat for the next room. Because what you want to do is you want to break this wall, but what's important about breaking that wall is that, like, if you're really close to the wall and you just dash into it, you'll see it breaks, but I don't have another dash, which means I need to land on the ground in order to be able to dash again. But if you slide along the ground as you dash into this wall, you'll get another dash back, which gives you time to dash straight down and reach the ground sooner. And that allows you to do this room slightly quicker. You can also do a wave dash right after breaking the wall, but it is kind of dangerous because you have to do a really quick bunny hop in the next room, and it's pretty easy to accidentally hit the spikes. So the reason I land farther left here is I land farther left over here, giving me more room to dash into that wall. And something else you can do to give yourself a little more room is, instead of dashing forward to the wall, you dash down right to the wall, because a down right dash gives you slightly less speed along the ground than a forward dash does. Which means it takes a little longer to reach the wall, and you're more likely to get your dash back. So pretty much just dash into the wall, buffer a down dash, and then be ready to hyper into the next turn right away. And if you don't get your dash, it's not too bad. You just need to make sure you fall. For this next room, there are a few different ways to do it. You should always hyper into the room. You can either start with a wave dash, which is kind of difficult because you don't have much room to get your dash back. So what I would recommend is that you bunny hop at the start instead. And then if you dash upright to that wall, you can either neutral jump or wall jump off that wall. Doing a neutral jump's a little bit faster, but if you find it a little difficult to input, it's not too important that you neutral jump. But you want to jump off this wall, and then the jump will give you enough height to dash forward over this spike. And it's pretty straightforward. You can dash pretty early without hitting the spike on the top of that block as well, so don't be too afraid. And after the forward dash, you may or may not be able to fast fall to here. So if you have trouble determining if you're going to be able to fast fall, I'd recommend just not fast falling because it's a very small time gain. But you're going to land about right here. And from here, you can hyper into the next room, but that makes extending the hyper or the wave dash at the start of the next room a little more difficult because you're moving forward faster. So if you want to give yourself a little more room to do the next room more safely, you can just dash forward. It's fairly slower and you'll have more space to wave dash at the next room. So you just dash forward into this room, and then you want to wave dash right after the transition, but make sure you input the wave dash like an extended hyper, because you're not high enough just to buffer the wave dash. You have to pretty much input an extended hyper and then do the next part. So just hold jump, and then the next part's a little tough, but you need to time an upright dash so that you get that crystal, but you also don't bonk on the bottom of this pillar in the middle. Like that can happen as well if you're not careful. Doing the wave dash into this room, or the hyper into this room, I mean, will allow you to get a little bit of coyote distance off the wave dash at the beginning, which does make it easier to avoid bonking off the middle pillar. So depending on which part of the room you struggle with, like if you struggle with avoiding the pillar in the middle, you can hyper in to get more coyote distance, and if you struggle getting your dash back at the start, you can dash forwards so that you get less coyote distance and more easily get your dash back. What I actually do is I do a very quick reverse hyper, because that gives me both the room to extend the wave dash, but also the speed to get coyote distance. Of course, doing very quick reverse hypers like that is a little bit difficult to input, so just kind of experiment with this room and try and find the way that minimizes the risk for you. But you're going to want to just jump off this next block and then dash upright. You can corner boost if you want. It's pretty much an optional corner boost that saves a very small amount of time, but you need to be ready to wave dash at the start of the next room. You can do that corner boost there. But at the start of the next room, right here, so you're going to have your dash back from the transition, and there's an interesting skip you can do here. Which involves using the cutscene skip to warp yourself to the middle of the room. And a neat thing about cutscene skips is that they'll only warp you on the x-axis, not the y-axis, which means if you're in midair when you skip a cutscene, you will remain in midair after the cutscene skip. And what that allows you to do in this case is if you can get into that little pocket sort of to the left of the dream block and then skip the cutscene there, the cutscene skip will warp you into the dream block. And while you're inside the dream block, you'll have your dash back, allowing you to dash up through the dream block while you're inside it. So you can either wave dash or extended hyper at the start of this room. And you want to time an up left dash such that you pass the cutscene trigger, and then you pass the cutscene trigger again with the up left dash, because you need to go near the mirror and then away from the mirror in order to trigger the cutscene. So you'll see I extended hyper there and then I dashed up left. You're going to want to practice the timing for this, but it's not too difficult. But as long as you're, pretty much as long as your head is in a position where going right will put you into the dream block, you're able to skip the cutscene here. So skip the cutscene, and then I'm in the dream block, so I can just dash up, and now I'm out of it. So, see, even if you don't get all the way into that pocket, you still have enough room. And after the up dash through the block, you want to not dash out of the block right away because you can hit this corner right here, but you want to let yourself exit the block a little bit so that you can forward dash to the slightly higher platform up here. And then from here, you don't even need to jump. You can just dash up right, or up left to this platform here. Or if you're a little further to the left, you can do a corner boost there. But the corner boost is just to prevent you from losing speed. It doesn't really save you any time. But you want to land up here either way, and then just hyper into the next room and be ready to fall. So you can hold down here just to fall a little faster. It doesn't make a huge difference though, but you want to dash forward through this block. And then you can either use the second dream block or not. This is a little slower, but if you choose to, you can jump out of this dream block, dash forward through here. Dream block jumping is something that you're taught in the B side of Old Site. So you can practice it there if you want. But pretty much you just press jump the moment you exit a dream block. So you can jump out of this dream block, and then you can just do that if you want. But what's faster is to ignore the second dream block and then do an extended or a wave dash and an ultra. So if you just do this, that was odd. If you just, after jumping out of this dream block, you can wave dash off this platform right here, and then you can ultra. So immediately after wave dashing, or not like right away, because you can do it too fast and end up down here, but shortly after wave dashing, you just do another downright dash and then bunny hop off this platform, and you can get ultra momentum, and that's the fastest way to do it. And then after exiting this block over here, you can just like exit and then wave dash like that. You can jump out of it, and then if you jump at the correct height, you can ultra off of this platform as well, which is a little faster. Or you can do a dream block hyper, which I probably wouldn't recommend right now for Old Site, since it's not as prevalent in Old Site. But once we get the summit, I will be showing you how to do dream hypers, because they are pretty significant in that chapter. So I'd recommend either just wave dashing out of the block or doing a jump and an ultra, depending on how consistently you're able to do ultras, because there are still a lot of factors that go into getting a correct ultra. But pretty much if you ultra'd into the room, you just want to hold jump so you have enough height to dash forward through here. If you wave dash into the room, you're going to want to bunny hop at the start, and you just want to go left through this block. After going through this block, you want to jump out of it so you can dash up through this block. And if you dash up through this block early enough, like kind of into the right edge of it, you can just dash up and then just climb up this wall. But if you're too far left, dashing up will make you bonk on the ceiling, like that. So if you're afraid to bonk on the ceiling, or if you can tell that you will bonk on the ceiling if you dash straight up, I recommend just drifting to the right a little and then dashing up. It doesn't really cost you much time. But you want to land on this platform far enough to the left that you can extend a dash jump. And since you're climb jumping up here, I recommend just moving all the way to the left to ensure that you can get an extended dash jump. What you want to do is extend a dash jump towards the dream block, use your extra dash to go up right through it, and then you want to dash up into the right side of the transition so that you can wall bounce in the next room. And you'll notice I dashed up a little too soon there, so you want to line up this wall bounce so that you can do it after the transition, like that. And since you're going to be climb jumping up here and you have another dash, you can just climb jump and then immediately wave dash off this platform. And then you can just do like hypers, like 2 hypers if you want, but since you are at the correct height to ultra, I recommend trying to ultra here, and then you can just take your momentum all the way to that dream block over there. Or you can just do a bunch of wave dashes if you want, and like that. But the fastest way is to do an ultra. So regardless of how you get into that dream block, you want to go up left through it, and then you want to jump out of it so that you can wall bounce. And you can wall bounce pretty much on any of these corner blocks over here. It is fastest to go off the one that's furthest to the left, but there's a lot of time that you have to do this wall bounce. So you want to wall bounce here, you may have to do a climb jump in order to land on this platform. You want to land on this platform so that you can immediately do another wall bounce like this. And then you can just, if you wall bounce high enough, you can just take the wall bounce all the way out of the room, or you can just do a lower wall bounce and then climb jump. They're about the same speed. For this room, you're gonna want to do diagonal dashes through this first block. Because normally you have to kind of dash down, or you can dash diagonally through here pretty easily. But if you don't do it correctly, you'll have to move to the right and then dash up through here. But if you get the correct angles, you can actually do entirely diagonal dashes in order to get into this pocket right here. So you kind of just need to practice when you dash up here. I'd recommend not drifting to the left or right from the transition, but just letting yourself fall a little bit, because the timing for the first upright dash is pretty much right after you start falling. And if you do that, then you can just do 3 diagonal dashes through the block, and you'll end up right in here. But when you exit this block, you want to drift to the left. It doesn't really matter if you jump out of this block or not. It's not going to change much. You want to drift to the left so that you can dash upright through this corner right here, and then that way you can dash to the left through here. And then you can just, you can exit in a few different ways, but I find the easiest way is just to jump out of the block and then wall bounce off the left wall into the next transition, so off this wall right here. And then you want to skip this cutscene right away, and then start drifting to the right. If you skip the cutscene correctly, you should pretty much always already be in midair, so it'll allow you to drift to the right without having to walk. But you can either dash upright to that platform in the middle, or you can do a very short wall bounce off this wall, raised wall next to me, which is slightly faster if you do it well. But it is easy enough just to do that, pretty much. Like, and with the extra height, you don't even need to climb jump at all. But if you can do that, do that. After landing on this platform, though, you can either jump, dash forward, and then pretty much exit like that. But if you fall off this platform, you can dash diagonally through it, which will get you a little more height and help you get out of the room slightly faster. But you want to wall bounce off that left wall to get into here. From here, let me put a better safe state. From here, you're going to be on kind of the left side of the right side of the transition, which means you can wave dash to the left, and then you want to dash up left through the dream block and jump out of it. And if you get the correct height, you should be able to grab this corner right here. Make sure that you climb to the top of this corner, and then you can actually do an up left dash through this dream block, and you won't crash into any walls. Like that. And this is very consistent as long as you make sure you climb to the top of this block. With practice, you can get yourself to pretty much consistently grab the topmost part of that corner and then not have to worry about climbing up at all, but I'd highly recommend just taking your time to make sure you're at the very top. Because there's even a strat where you don't grab that wall at all and then just do 2 diagonals, but it's very, very tight. So just grab the wall, climb up, dash up left, and then again, you can jump out of the stream block if you want, and then just dash up into the transition. You don't need to wall bounce or anything. From here, you want to start with a wave dash because you're in midair. You want to wall jump off the right wall, all the way to the right. And then the moment you're like as far up left as you possibly can be in that little corner below the dream block, you can actually do an upright dash through the dream block. If you're a little bit too low or a little bit too far to the right, you will crash into the wall at the end. So this might take a little extra practice. And again, if you want to make sure that it's safe, you can grab the corner and then just make sure you climb to the top. Like you can grab that corner and then just make sure you're as high as possible in order to get this diagonal. But this is a much easier diagonal to get than the other one, so you don't necessarily need to grab the wall with practice. Like you can, this isn't too hard to do without grabbing. But you actually want to jump out of the block, the dream block here, because the momentum that you get from exiting the dream block diagonally, the upward momentum that is actually more than what you get from a dream jump if you do a very short dream jump. So you can just fall out of it if you want, but if you input a very short dream block jump exiting that block, you'll actually spend less time falling. And for the last dream block, you want to dash forward through it. And then you don't want to dash up right away, but you kind of want to time an up dash so that you can wall bounce off the snow on the left. Wall bounce will take you to this corner right here. And then you just want to, you can either step up from here and then dash up. Or if you do a climb jump straight up, don't input like a climb jump forward, but input a climb jump straight up. And then you can do a climb jump off the left wall into the transition. Like that. So let me just do this really cool. Let me see here. So in the next room, you want to drift left and then just you want to drift left and then you can do a dash up left just to land here. And then here, you have a few options, but the option I'd recommend is just to jump and then wave dash off this raised platform in front of you. If you do a very low jump, you can do an extended demo hyper with practice, which is ever so slightly faster. But using that extra dash you get from the wave dash, you can ultra to that switch at the far left. And just make sure you don't ultra too early because you can accidentally slide along the corner right there. Your next goal from here, though, is to land on that door as it's moving down. So you can just immediately go up to the platform to the right of me and then just kind of do that. But what I find a way to do this very consistently is to do like a full height jump along that wall jump off of it, and then dash upright. And it looks like I'm getting pretty close to Battlein, but this will pretty much always get over her if you do it correctly. And it'll also pretty much always land you on the door as it's moving down. And then you can either dash up and then just do a climb jump to land on the platform, or you can dash upright and then do a wall jump, which is slightly faster. Like you can do that. From here, you can just dash into the block, and then you can jump out of this block, which is slightly faster, and you want to be ready to buffer a wall bounce through the transition again. So you want to dash up into the left side of this transition. And what you can do with that wall bounce is if you wall bounce kind of up, if you don't want to be holding right away, but if you press right immediately after you wall bounce, you'll go straight to that corner right there. And then you can climb jump to grab the switch, dash up to get up here, and then proceed with the rest of the room. If you have trouble with the wall bounce, you can just land right here, and then you can just jump to that corner, which is a little bit slower. From here, though, it's an extended hyper. You want to make sure that you jump from kind of the right edge of this platform with the extended hyper so that you don't bonk on that corner in front of you. But this extended hyper will take you to the top switch, and then you can just fall to the bottom right switch or fast fall to it if you want. But the moment you grab this switch, it's just an upright dash to this platform, get your dash back. You're going to want to jump to the left since you don't have room to get onto the door on the right because of that wall. But once you land on the door, you can just jump and then dash up out of the room. For this room, you just want to wave dash from the transition. You can dash up to land on that raised platform in the middle, and then you can just hyper to the spring. And from that spring, you can either just dash up to the wooden platform at the top left of the room, or you can wall bounce, which is a little bit faster. From here, you have two options depending on where on this platform you land. One option is to do a very, very short dash jump, which will land you on the platform in front of you, and then you can dash forward into the block, like that. Or if you land further to the right, you can do a reverse hyper to get over this corner. But regardless of what you do, when you dash into this dream block, depending on how low in it you are, you can do a very short jump out of it, like that, and it won't bonk you on the wall. Or you can just drift out of it, which isn't much slower, but you want to wall bounce to exit the room. And if you have trouble timing the wall bounce, you can just jump and land right there. Or if you dream jump, you can also just immediately dash with the height you get from the dream jump. Regardless of what you do, though, you're going to want to land right here and hyper into the next room, and then just let yourself fall, because Makes the next room a little easier if you brush against the wooden platform at the start of the next room. So if you brush against that wooden platform, it'll lower your falling speed so that you can dash down right through this block. You can also just fall a little more and then dash forward through it if you have trouble with the down right. Regardless of what you do though, you're going to want to jump out of this block and then dash forward through the next one. And then you do not want, I'm pretty sure you do not want to jump out of this block. Yeah, you don't want to jump out of that block because it'll hit the ice. And I'd recommend also that you don't hold grab as you make it past that ice block, because it is pretty easy to accidentally grab the corner if you're a little too high. So just don't hold grab at all here. Wait, like if you hold grab, that happens. So wait until you've already passed the ice block, and then when you do this forward dash, you need to be holding grab so you can grab this wall. With a well-timed forward dash, you can grab this wall a little higher than this, but as long as you do grab the wall, you just want to climb up and then land on the very corner of it. You don't need to be this far to the right, but you want enough room to extended hyper from here. There are a few different options for getting through this part right here. You can just do a bunch of hypers to get through the switch and then back, and then you're going to have to kind of jump and then weave away in between battles to do this, like that. If you're too slow though, the battle lines will catch up. But if you just do one climb jump on the block as this opening, you'll go over the first battle line, and then you can dash straight down. If you're really afraid of the battle lines though, what you can do to make this much safer is if you do a very high dash jump over the block, then you can manipulate the battle line's path to go high, and that way you can just go under them. Like that. And that just adds a little bit of extra safety to that exit, and allows you to take your time if you're having trouble getting to the switch and back. So for this room, it's a very long room, so I'll probably teach it in parts. But you want to just dash forward into this block as you're falling. You don't need to touch the ground first. But you can actually do a downright dash through the block, and then you can actually jump out of the bottom of dream blocks. So what you can do is if you dash down right through that block and then jump, you can actually land on this platform. You can then fall off this platform, either fast fall or dash down to this wooden platform down here. And then there's a shortcut to the left if you just dash to the left, and then you can fall into here. When you land on this crumble block, you can dash down or just fall to it. You want to jump because that breaks crumble blocks sooner, and then you can just fall through this gap. You can dash down left to this platform if you want, or you can just dash right and then start falling, but dashing down left to this platform means you have another dash just to make part of this room a little safer. But you want to fall off of here. If you do get your dash back from slide along the platform, you can dash down here to get fast fall speed a little sooner, but this is a big falling section that is a little dangerous if you fast fall. So you can just opt not to fast fall at all through here, and then just do the rest of it. Or if you want to dash down here, the dash down, if you let go of down after dashing down, you'll just lose all your fast fall speed, which allows you to safely get around here. And what I like to do with fast falling is fast fall after getting past this point, and then you can use this crystal to dash down left and make the exit a little safer. But if you're afraid, you can just not fast fall at all. Or if you're really brave, you can fast fall through pretty much this entire thing and not die. Like if you weave around that correctly with the fast fall, I don't because it's kind of dangerous, but you can do that pretty quickly. You're gonna want to either land here and then hyper bunny hop, get to this dream block, or if you're like right here as you're falling, you can wave dash here and then dash into it. But you want to jump out of this dream block so that you can get this first switch. And then the moment you grab this first switch, you can either fall and then wave dash off the lower platform, or what's slightly faster is to wave dash off the upper platform. But you have to do it pretty much right after you grab the switch. Like if you do it too late, you will bump against the corner. So you can do that, wave dash to the left, and then dash straight down to get through this little gap a little quicker. Or you can just fall and then wave dash there. And if you do dash down here, you're going to be on the bottom platform down here. So if you do it like this, you have to do a hyper to the switch, hyper back, and then be ready to jump and dash through the dream block. before the battalions get to you. If you're afraid of the battalions though, you can choose to fall, and then if you dash through here, so don't dash down, but instead just fall, you don't need to grab it. But if you dash to the right and go over here, you can get the battalions to go high, and then you can have all the time you need just to get through the bottom of this block. You're going to want to jump out of this block in order to get past that piece of snow right there. You can ultra to the switch if you want, or just fall to it, but then you just want to make your way to the block and be ready for it to get out of the way. And then the moment the block is out of the way, those battalions aren't actually there, it's just demo tool. The moment the block's out of the way, you can fall into this gap, dash down right, and then you can kind of just fast fall to this point. And then you just walk left, you can dash left to get to the exit, or if you slide along that raised platform down there, you can get another dash to dash down into the transition, like that. And then here, you can either fast fall here, do reverse hyper, and then do kind of 2 ultras like that, or if you do a well-timed wave dash here and then ultra, you can land yourself right here, which allows you to hyper and then bunny hop to the next room. Or you can just do like a wave dash, fast fall to here. And then, but either way, you want to be able to bunny hop so you get enough height in order to dash into the dream block. So from here, hyper. If you're if you hyper a little farther, you can choose to bunny hop off this platform if you want, but it is slightly faster just to bunny hop as soon as possible. And you will get enough height as long as you hold jump to dash into the bottom of this block. Exiting this block though, it's just a down right to get to the third one. Sometimes you'll go through this middle one, sometimes you won't, it doesn't really matter. But you want to get into this block and then just jump out of it and then wave dash into the next room. And then here, it's just a bunch of forward dashes to get through all these dream blocks. You may need to dream block jump at least once to make sure that you don't crash into the platform at the bottom, because if I just keep dashing, I risk crashing into one of these lower platforms. Like I came dangerously close to crashing into this corner right here. So I'd recommend doing at least one dream block jump in order to give yourself a little more height. And then upon exiting this block, you can just wave dash into the next room and be ready to wave dash again. So wave dash into there, wave dash again. You can corner boost here, but you need a really well-timed and short corner boost in order to gain time with this. So I'd recommend just dashing over this, trying not to land on that platform, because even though you get your dash back, you will lose time because you lose your fall speed. But once you land right here, you can hyper bunny hop over pretty much all of this, and then you can just hyper off of there. You need to make sure you get like a lot of height off this hyper bunny hop, or you can, to make it a little more consistent, you can demo hyper off of this part right here. And then at the start of this room, since you have hyper momentum, you can just bunny hop and then hyper to the cutscene trigger. And then be ready to skip that cutscene pretty quickly. So what's coming up is Awake, which is, if you're a beginner, it's not too significant of a section because there's nothing to kill you. But as you get more advanced, this is one of the hardest parts of Old Site just because of how much movement there is involved. But the start of Awake is pretty much the exact same as the start of the normal chapter entry because the rooms are almost identical. So again, you can do a hyper bunny hop or a hyper into the next room, do lots of hypers, and then either do 2 hypers here or do a bunny hop and a wave dash here. And then again, you want to be able to bunny hop so you get over this. And then it's pretty much just lots of hypers here. If you do short hypers, you can do 3, or you can just do 2 if you do long ones. Or if you get enough room, you can also extended hyper off the middle platform. That you can do wave dashes, which are a little faster. But you want to make sure that you take full jump height and full hyper momentum off the hyper off this last block here, because you need to be able to hyper far enough to land on this platform. You don't want to land down here or else you get stuck. If you like a short hyper, sometimes you'll get stuck. So just make this hyper very long so you can bunny hop off of here, extended hyper or wave dash off of here, and then do another wave dash off here. And then if you time a bunny hop correctly, if you hold jump for the correct amount of time, you can bunny hop off of this platform right here. I recommend holding grab just in case, that if you end up missing that, instead of wall jumping off that wall, which will send you back into the transition, like that, if you hold grab, you'll just climb jump, which is much less of a penalty, because transitions take a really long time. And then something you can do using this bunny hop is that you can then extend a hyper or wave dash off of here. Something else that you can do if you have trouble getting this bunny hop right here, like I definitely do, is if you do a very low wave dash here, you can start this room with an extended dash jump, and you'll pretty much always be level with the platform to extend dash jump here. It is a little slower though, because the dash jump makes you lose your wave dash momentum. Either way, it's an extended hyper off of here, and then you can just ultra down to this platform right here, and then use that ultra momentum just to carry you pretty far. And then with that ultra momentum, you can hyper off of this spot right here. And then it's pretty much just kind of mixing hypers and ultras here if you want. I recommend bunny hopping at the start of the room, and then using that height you get to ultra off of here. And then you can just pretty much just do hypers the rest of the way. There are a lot of different ways to optimize this room, but most of them involve corner boosts and other very difficult tech. Your main goal is just to get through this room without hitting any springs at all, because these springs will cost you like a whole second if you accidentally hit them. This next room pretty much works the exact same way as the dream variant. You want to hyper or wave dash into this next room, wave dash off of here, and then in this case, it is a little safer to corner boost here if you want, since there's no dream block right here for you to slam into. But you can just do the same thing that you did before, which is just go all the way over this block. It's not too slow. And then once again, just a hyper bunny hop, either hyper or demo hyper off of here, and then just hyper to the exit. And yeah, that is Old Site. I would suggest aiming for like sub 210 times in Old Site. If you put a lot of practice into it, you can get pretty consistent sub 2 times. But once again, this is a pretty short chapter, so it's not super crucial that you get the best times here. Where things really start getting difficult and when consistency really starts making a difference is when we get into Celestial Resort, which is a major difficulty spike. So I will see you then.